What if this moment you thought you'd lost everything was actually the moment you discovered you'd already lost it long before? Rick Holloway had it all planned. Leave his wife of 25 years. Start fresh with his younger lover. Simple. Clean.
No!
Except nothing
I'm
about
lying.
betrayal is ever
That
clean.
can't be true!
Because while Rick was planning his escape, his wife Maggie was hiding a secret. A secret that would change everything. A secret growing inside her that he knew nothing about. And then came the midnight call. The call that would reveal the truth Rick had been too blind to see. The call that would show him exactly what he'd destroyed. The call that came too late. This is a story about consequences. About the things we lose before we even know they're gone. About a man who thought he was choosing freedom, but was actually choosing the biggest loss of his life. Stay with me for the next 90 minutes, because what happens next will break your heart, and maybe, just maybe, remind you what truly matters before it's too late. I'm in love with someone else. 5 words. That's all it took. 5 words to end 25 years. 5 words to destroy everything Maggie Holloway thought she knew about her life. The wine glass slipped from her hand. Red liquid spread across their cream carpet like blood, like something dying. She watched it spread, watched it stain, couldn't look away. Her hand moved to her belly. 16 weeks, 4 months pregnant with a daughter Rick didn't know existed, a daughter he would never know existed if Maggie had anything to say about it. Maggie, did you hear me? She heard him. She'd heard every word. Her brain was processing, cataloging, filing away the moment when her husband of 25 years told her he wanted someone else. I heard you. Her voice sounded strange, distant, like it belonged to someone else. Rick sat across from her. The couch between them might as well have been a canyon. He'd chosen that spot deliberately, far enough away that she couldn't touch him, couldn't reach him, couldn't make this harder than it already was. For him. He'd made this harder for himself. Not for her. Never for her. Say something, Rick said. His hands twisted together. Nervous, guilty, but also relieved. She could see it in his face. The relief. He wanted out. Had wanted out for a long time. And now he was getting it. What do you want me to say? Maggie asked. Her hand stayed on her belly, protecting, concealing, the secret growing inside her that would stay a secret. I don't know. Anything. Yell at me. Throw something. Just react. React. He wanted her to react, to give him the dramatic scene he'd probably rehearsed in his head. The crying, the begging, the please don't leave me moment that would make him feel important, wanted, worth staying for. She wouldn't give him that. Who is she? Maggie kept her voice level, calm, even though inside she was screaming. Rick looked down. Her name is Vanessa. She works at the firm. Of course she did. Of course it was someone from work. Someone young and available and uncomplicated. Someone who didn't have stretch marks from bearing his children. Someone who didn't know what he looked like when he had the flu. Someone who'd never seen him fail. How long? 2 words. Simple question. Rick hesitated. That told her everything. How long, Rick? 8 months. 8 months. Maggie's hand pressed harder against her belly. She'd been pregnant for 4 months. He'd been cheating for 8. The math was simple, brutal, clear. He'd been with Vanessa while Maggie was going through fertility treatments. They'd tried for years to have another baby. Had given up. Then this miracle. This surprise. This daughter Maggie had discovered 6 weeks ago. And all that time Rick had been planning his escape. 8 months, Maggie repeated. Her voice stayed calm, steady. She was proud of that. Proud that she wasn't falling apart. Not yet. Not in front of him. I didn't mean for it to happen, Rick said, the oldest lie in the book. It just, we connected. She understands me. And I don't. That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying, Rick? Use your words. Be clear. He flinched. Good. Let him flinch. Let him feel 1/10 of what she was feeling. I'm not happy, Rick said. I haven't been happy for a long time. You must have felt it too. Maggie had felt it. The distance, the coldness, the way he'd stopped really looking at her. Stopped asking about her day. Stopped caring about anything except work and his phone. and his mysterious meetings that ran late. She'd felt it, and she'd blamed herself, blamed the weight she'd gained, blamed her exhaustion, blamed her lack of interest in sex, blamed everything about herself while never considering that maybe, just maybe, the problem wasn't her. The problem was she'd been pregnant. Her body was changing, creating life. And instead of asking what was wrong, instead of noticing, instead of caring, Rick had found someone else. "So you're leaving?" Not a question, a statement. "I've already moved most of my things out," Rick said, "over the past few weeks while you were at work. The apartment lease starts Monday." The apartment lease starts Monday. He'd planned this, carefully, methodically, while she'd been planning to surprise him with news of their daughter, while she'd been imagining his face when she told him, while she'd been stupid enough to think they still had a future. "You planned this," Maggie said. "I wanted to be organized, fair." Fair. The word tasted like ash. "You think this is fair?" "I think it's honest. I think it's better than living a lie." Living a lie. That's what their marriage had become to him. A lie. A burden. Something to escape from rather than fight for. Maggie's hand moved in slow circles over her belly. Her daughter. Lily. She'd already named her. Lily Rose. After her grandmother. A strong name. A survivor's name. "Tell him," a voice in her head whispered. "Tell him about the baby. Make him stay." But Maggie looked at Rick's face. Really looked. Saw the relief there. The freedom. The man who'd already checked out of their marriage emotionally was just making it official. If she told him about Lily, he'd stay. Out of obligation. Out of guilt. Out of duty. And he'd resent them both. Maggie for trapping him. Lily for existing. No, her daughter deserved better than a father who stayed because he had to. Better than growing up in a house filled with resentment disguised as nobility. "Go," Maggie said, her voice quiet, final. Rick's eyebrows rose. "What?" "I said go. You want to leave. So leave. The door's right there." "Maggie, we should talk about this, about the house, the finances, We'll talk about all of that through lawyers. Right now I want you to leave." Rick stood slowly. He'd brought 4 suitcases. They were lined up by the door, packed and ready. He'd known exactly how this would go. "I'll call you tomorrow," Rick said, "once you've had time to process." Process. Like she was a computer. Like grief had a timeline. Like 25 years could be processed in a day. "Don't call me," Maggie said. "Call my lawyer. I'll have someone contact you with their information." "Maggie, get out, Rick." He picked up his suitcases. 1B1, up 25 years, fit into 4 bags. Everything he thought was worth keeping. Everything that mattered to him. She didn't matter, not anymore. Maybe she never had. The door closed at 9:47. Maggie watched the clock, noted the time, the moment her marriage ended, the moment she became a single mother. She sat in the wine-stained room until midnight, hand on belly, talking to her daughter in whispers. "It's just us now, baby girl. Just us." And somewhere inside, beneath the grief and shock and devastation, Maggie felt something else. Relief. Morning sickness hit at 6:15. Maggie barely made it to the bathroom. She knelt on cold tile, retching into the toilet, tears streaming down her face. Not from nausea, from everything else. Yesterday, she'd hidden this, blamed it on a stomach bug, on bad food, on anything except the truth. Rick had been in the bathroom down the hall, oblivious, while she'd silently suffered. Today, she could cry through it, could let the suzy come between the heaving, could fall apart because there was no one there to see her break. When it finally stopped, Maggie rinsed her mouth, looked at herself in the mirror. 47 years old, 16 weeks pregnant, newly single, she looked like a ghost. The pregnancy test was still in the bathroom drawer. She'd taken it 6 weeks ago, had stared at those 2 pink lines in disbelief. They'd stopped trying, had given up years ago after the treatments failed, after the doctors said it probably wouldn't happen naturally. And then it did. A miracle. That's what Dr. Blackwell had called it at the 12-week appointment. A miracle baby for a 47-year-old woman who thought her childbearing years were over. Maggie had smiled, had cried happy tears, had planned the perfect way to tell Rick she'd never gotten the chance. Her phone buzzed on the counter. Claire's name flashed across the screen. Maggie stared at it, watched it ring, couldn't answer. What would she say? Your father left me for another woman. Oh, and by the way, I'm pregnant with your sister and haven't told anyone. How's medical school? The call went to voicemail. 10 seconds later, a text arrived. Mom, where's Dad? He's not answering his phone. Everything okay? Everything okay. Such a simple question. Such a complicated answer. Maggie typed slowly. Her fingers felt numb. He's staying somewhere else for a while. We're figuring things out. I'll explain later. Love you. Not a lie, not exactly. They were figuring things out through lawyers, through divorce proceedings, through the systematic dismantling of 25 years. Another text, from Owen this time. Mom, what's going on? Claire said Dad's not home? Her children, 23 and 20, adults, but still her babies, still the people she'd protected from every hurt, every disappointment, every harsh reality she could shield them from. She couldn't shield them from this. I'll call you both tonight, Maggie typed. Everything's fine, I promise. Another lie, but a necessary one. She needed time, needed to figure out how to tell them, how to explain that their father had chosen someone else, that their family was broken, that nothing would ever be the same. And she needed to figure out what to do about Lily. Maggie pulled out the What to Expect book she'd hidden under her bed, the ultrasound photo tucked inside. 12 weeks, a tiny blob with a heartbeat. Her daughter. She had an appointment today. 16-week checkup. Rick was supposed to come with her. They'd planned to learn the sex together, to celebrate this surprise baby, to start fresh. Now she'd go alone. The clinic was 15 minutes away. Maggie drove on autopilot. Didn't remember getting in the car. Didn't remember the route. Just found herself in the parking lot, staring at the building. Inside, pregnant women everywhere, most with partners, husbands holding hands, boyfriends rubbing backs, one couple arguing about baby names, laughing. Maggie sat alone in the waiting room, filled out paperwork, emergency contact. She crossed out Rick's name, wrote Claire's, her daughter, her grown daughter who would now be responsible if something went wrong. Margaret Holloway? The nurse smiled, warm, professional, led her to an exam room. How are we feeling today? How was she feeling? Destroyed, abandoned, pregnant, and alone and terrified. Fine, Maggie said. I'm fine. The nurse took her vitals. Blood pressure slightly elevated, heart rate fast. Any concerns? Any bleeding or cramping? No, everything's normal. And will your husband be joining us today? The question landed like a punch. Maggie's throat tightened. No, he won't be joining us for any appointments. The nurse's eyes softened. She'd seen this before, heard this before, knew what those words meant. I understand, the nurse said. Let me get Dr. Blackwell. Maggie changed into the gown, lay on the exam table, stared at the ceiling and tiles, counted them. Anything to avoid thinking about yesterday, about the wine glass, about Rick's face when he said those 5 words. I'm in love with someone else. Dr. Blackwell entered, 50-something, kind face. She'd been Maggie's doctor for both previous pregnancies, had celebrated Claire's birth, had held Maggie's hand through Owen's emergency cesarean. Maggie, Dr. Blackwell said, I heard your husband won't be joining us today. He won't be joining us for any days. Maggie's voice cracked. We're separating. Dr. Blackwell pulled up a stool, sat, didn't rush to the examination. Just sat with the information. Let it settle. I'm sorry, she said. That's incredibly difficult, especially now. Especially now, while pregnant, while vulnerable, while her body was changing and hormones were surging and everything felt impossible. I'm keeping the baby, Maggie said, fierce, certain, even though Dr. Blackwell hadn't suggested otherwise. No matter what, I'm keeping her. Her? Dr. Blackwell smiled. You want to know today? Yes, please. I need to know something good. I need one good thing. The ultrasound machine wheeled closer, cold gel on Maggie's belly, the wand moving, searching. And then, a heartbeat. Fast, strong, beautiful. There she is, Dr. Blackwell said. Your daughter. Maggie cried, deep, heaving sobs that shook her whole body. Dr. Blackwell held her hand, didn't speak, just held on while Maggie fell apart. A girl, Maggie whispered. I'm having a girl. A healthy girl, Dr. Blackwell confirmed. Everything looks perfect. Strong heartbeat, good SANWO. She's a fighter. A fighter, like her mother would have to be, like they'd both have to be. Dr. Blackwell printed the ultrasound photos. 3 of them. Maggie clutched them like treasures. Her daughter, Lily, real, present, depending on her. I need to update my medical records, Maggie said. Emergency contact, father information, all of it. Dr. Blackwell nodded. Of course, whatever you need. I want the father listed as unknown. Single mother by choice. Are you sure? I'm sure. He chose to leave. I'm choosing to protect my daughter from that choice. Well, Blackwell didn't argue, just made notes, updated forms, helped Maggie erase Rick from the official record of this pregnancy. At your age, this is high risk, Dr. Blackwell said gently. We'll need more frequent monitoring, more tests. I want to make sure you and baby stay healthy. I'll do whatever it takes, Maggie said. Whatever she needs, Amon. What about what you need? Do you have support? Family? Friends? Maggie thought about Beth, her best friend for 30 years. Beth would help. Beth would understand. I have people, Maggie said. I won't be completely alone. But she would be, in the ways that mattered, in the 3 a.m. panic, in the fear that clawed at her throat, in the knowledge that she was doing this without a partner, without someone to share the burden. She'd be alone, by choice, to protect Lily, to ensure her daughter never grew up feeling like the reason her father stayed in a marriage he wanted to escape. It was the right choice. It had to be. Maggie drove home slowly, the ultrasound photos on the passenger seat. She kept glancing at them. At Lily, at her daughter's tiny profile. The house felt empty, too big, too quiet. Rick's presence had filled spaces she hadn't noticed until he was gone. His coffee mug in the cabinet. World's best dad. Owen had given it to him at 7 years old. Maggie left it there. Couldn't bear to move it yet. The dent in the wall where their wedding photo had hung. Rick had taken it, along with most of the photos that showed their life together. His side of the bed, still indented, his pillow still smelling faintly of his shampoo. Maggie stripped the bed, threw everything in the wash, erased what she could. Her phone rang. Beth's name. This time Maggie answered. Hey, Beth said. Just calling to check in. You okay? Rick left me. The words came out flat, emotionless. Yesterday, for someone named Vanessa. She works at his firm. He's been cheating for 8 months. Silence. Then I'm coming over. Beth, don't argue. I'm already in my car. 20 minutes later, Beth stood in Maggie's doorway with grocery bags and wine. Red wine. The expensive kind. I can't drink that, Maggie said. More for me then. Come on, let me in. Beth didn't ask questions immediately, just unpacked groceries, made tea, Maggie's favorite, the kind with honey and lemon that settled her stomach. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Rick had told her, the wine stain on the carpet visible from where they sat. Tell me everything, Beth said. So Maggie did. The confession, the planning, the suitcases by the door, the apartment lease starting Monday. 8 months of lies. Beth listened, didn't interrupt, didn't offer platitudes, just listened. What can I do? Beth asked when Maggie finished. There's more, Maggie said. Her hand moved to her belly, unconscious, protective. Beth's eyes followed the movement, widened. Maggie, are you? 16 weeks. A girl, her name is Lily. Does Rick know? No. Are you going to tell him? No. Beth leaned back, processed. Why not? Because if I tell him, he'll stay, out of obligation, out of guilt, because that's what you're supposed to do when your wife is pregnant. And every day for the rest of our lives, he'll resent us. Me for trapping him, Lily for existing. I won't do that to her. Maggie, he has a right. He gave up his rights when he chose Vanessa, when he planned his exit while I was going through fertility treatments. When he blamed me for being tired instead of asking why I was tired, he had 8 months to notice I was pregnant. He never looked at me long enough to see. Beth reached across the table, held Maggie's hand. What are you going to do? I'm going to raise her. Alone. I'm going to prove I can do this, that I don't need him, that we don't need him. You're not alone, Beth said. You have me. You have Claire and Owen. You have people who love you. Oh, they don't know yet about the pregnancy. I wanted to wait until after the anatomy scan, make sure everything was healthy. I was going to tell them next month, after I told Rick. When will you tell them? I don't know. Soon, after the 20-week scan maybe. Once I know for sure that Lily is okay, that this is real, that I can actually do this. They sat in silence, the afternoon sun slanting through kitchen windows, the house settling around them. I'm scared, Maggie whispered. I'm 47 years old. I'm having a baby alone. What if I can't do this? What if something goes wrong? What if I'm not strong enough? Beth squeezed her hand. You're the strongest person I know. You've raised two amazing kids. You've built a career. You've survived 25 years of marriage to a man who stopped seeing you. You'll survive this too. Would she? Maggie wasn't sure, but she had to try. For Lily, for the daughter growing inside her who deserved a mother who fought, who chose her, who loved her enough to do the impossible. He doesn't deserve to know about her, Maggie said. He doesn't deserve to be part of this, part of us. Beth didn't argue, just sat, present, solid. A reminder that even in the wreckage, some things remained. That night, Maggie lay in her empty bed, hand on belly, talking to Lily in whispers. Your father doesn't know about you. Maybe he never will. Maybe that makes me selfish. Maybe that makes me cruel. But I'm protecting you. From rejection, from resentment, from growing up feeling unwanted. Lily kicked, tiny flutter under Maggie's ribs. First movement, first communication. I feel you, Maggie whispered. I'm here. I'll always be here. Outside, rain started to fall. Inside, Maggie cried herself to sleep. But her hand stayed on her belly, protecting, promising, choosing her daughter over everything else, including the truth. Rick's new apartment smelled like paint and possibility. Modern, minimalist. Nothing like the house he'd shared with Maggie. That house had been full, cluttered, photos and memories and evidence of 25 years. This apartment had clean lines, empty walls, a blank slate where he could be someone new, someone exciting, someone wanted, someone not weighted down by decades of disappointment. Vanessa moved around the space like she belonged there, unpacking his things, reorganizing, making decisions about where everything should go. This is perfect, Vanessa said. Much better than that old house. That old house, the home where Rick had raised his children, where he'd celebrated birthdays and Christmases and all the small moments that made up a life, reduced to that old house in Vanessa's vocabulary. Yeah, Rick said. Perfect. But he kept checking his phone, waiting for Maggie to call, to text, to demand explanations or apologies or anything that proved she cared. Nothing. Radio silence for 3 days, like he'd never existed, like 25 years meant nothing. Stop looking at your phone, Vanessa said. She came up behind him, wrapped arms around his waist. She's playing games, trying to make you feel guilty. Don't let her win. Games. Was Maggie playing games? Or had she simply accepted reality faster than Rick expected? I should call her, Rick said. Make sure she's okay. Vanessa stiffened. Why? You left her. You chose me. Let her deal with it. She's still my wife, technically, until the divorce is final. Then finalize it. Call a lawyer. Get it done. The faster we can move on, the better. Move on, like Maggie was a chapter to close, a problem to solve. Not a person, not someone who deserved consideration. Rick's phone rang. Tom Winters, his business partner. I need to take this, Rick said. He walked to the bedroom, closed the door. Hey, Tom, we need to talk. Tom's voice was tight, unhappy. About what? About Martha Morrison. She called me this morning. Wants a different project manager for her renovation. Martha Morrison, one of their biggest clients, a referral from Maggie. Actually. They'd gone to college together, stayed friends. Why does she want a different manager? Because you left your wife. Because Martha and Maggie are friends. Because people are talking, Rick. People were talking. Of course they were. Small community. Everyone knew everyone. News traveled fast. That's ridiculous, Rick said. This is professional. My personal life shouldn't matter. But it does, especially when you're sleeping with a junior colleague, especially when your wife is well-liked, especially when people think you're the bad guy here. I'm not the bad guy. Marriages end. People move on. Do they? Tom's voice held something sharp, judgment. Or do they abandon their families for younger women and pretend it's about happiness? Rick's jaw clenched. That's not fair. Maybe not, but it's what people are saying. And it's affecting business. We've lost 3 clients this week. All women. All friends with Maggie. 3 clients. Thousands of dollars in revenue because Rick had left his wife. What do you want me to do? Rick asked. I don't know, but we need to have a conversation about the partnership, about moving forward. This can't continue. The line went dead. Rick stood in the empty bedroom, stared at himself in the mirror. 48 years old, successful architect, good father, decent man. Except he wasn't decent. Decent men didn't cheat for 8 months. Decent men didn't plan their exits while their wives planned anniversaries. Decent men didn't abandon their families for excitement and youth. When had he become this person? Vanessa knocked on the door. Everything okay? Fine, Rick lied. Just work stuff. Come on, let's go out. Celebrate. We should go to Marcello's, that Italian place you always talked about. Marcello's. The restaurant Rick had shared with Maggie for 25 anniversary dinners. The place where they'd celebrated promotions and birthdays and life milestones. The place where Rick had taken Vanessa 3 weeks ago while telling Maggie he was in Philadelphia for work. I don't think, please. I want to take you somewhere nice, show you off. We don't have to hide anymore, Rick. We're together, really together. Show him off, like he was a prize, a trophy, evidence that Vanessa could take what she wanted. Okay, Rick said. Marcello's it is. They went that night, Vanessa in a red dress that turned heads, Rick in the suit Maggie had bought him for Christmas. The irony wasn't lost on him. The maitre d' recognized him. Mr. Holloway, welcome back. Will your wife be joining you tonight? The question hung in the air. Awkward, damning. No, Rick said. This is Vanessa. She'll be dining with me tonight. The maitre d' smile tightened. Of course, right this way. They sat at the same table Rick always shared with Maggie. Vanessa didn't notice, or didn't care. She was busy looking at the menu, talking about wine pairings, planning what to order. Rick couldn't focus, couldn't stop seeing Maggie across from him. 25 years of anniversary dinners. 25 years of her ordering the carbonara because she liked the name. 25 years of her laughing at his jokes, even the bad ones. You're not listening, Vanessa said. Sorry, what? I said we should plan a trip, somewhere tropical. You've been talking about wanting to travel. Now we can actually do it. Travel. Rick had wanted to travel, had talked about it constantly, but with kids in college and a mortgage and life responsibilities, it had never happened. Now it could happen. Now he had freedom, youth, possibility. So why did he feel empty? Rick, Vanessa reached across the table. Are you having second thoughts? No, of course not. Because if you are, tell me now. I won't be the other woman forever. I won't wait around while you decide if you made a mistake. A mistake. Had he made a mistake? Rick didn't know anymore. He'd been so sure, so certain that leaving Maggie was the right choice, that Vanessa was the answer, that happiness was just a decision away. But sitting in Marcello's, in the restaurant that used to mean something, Rick felt like an imposter, like he was playing a role in someone else's life. His phone buzzed. Claire's name. I need to get this, Rick said. He walked outside, answered. Claire, hi, sweetheart. Don't sweetheart me. Claire's voice was ice. What did you do to Mom? What did she tell you? She told me you're separated, that you're figuring things out, but Owen talked to the neighbors. They saw you loading suitcases, saw you leaving with some woman. Some woman, Vanessa, reduced to some woman by his daughter. Claire, it's complicated. It's not complicated. You cheated. You left. You destroyed our family. That's pretty simple. Your mother and I haven't been happy for years. Sometimes people grow apart. Sometimes, don't, Claire's voice broke. Don't make excuses. Don't pretend this is mutual. You did this. You chose this. And now mom is dealing with it alone. Alone, well, the word hit Rick harder than it should have. Maggie was alone. In that big house, without him, processing the end of their marriage by herself. Is she okay? Rick asked. Why do you care? You left her. She's still your mother. I still care about her. Then why did you cheat on her? Why did you pack your thing and walk away like 25 years meant nothing? Rick had no answer, no justification that would satisfy his daughter. No explanation that would make this okay. I'm sorry, Rick said. I know that's not enough, but I'm sorry. Tell mom that, not me. She's the one you hurt. The line went dead. Rick stood on the sidewalk, cars passing, people laughing, life continuing while his was falling apart. Inside, Vanessa waited, beautiful, exciting, the future he'd chosen. But all Rick could think about was Claire's voice, the disappointment there, the disgust. He'd lost his daughter's respect. Maybe forever. The price of freedom was higher than he'd anticipated. Meanwhile, Maggie stood in her bathroom at 3 in the morning, staring at the pregnancy test from 6 weeks ago, the test that had changed everything. 2 pink lines, undeniable, irrevocable. She'd taken 3 more tests that day, all positive. Had called Dr. Blackwell, scheduled the first appointment, started taking prenatal vitamins, and she'd said nothing to anyone. Not to Beth, not to Claire and Owen, certainly not to Rick, because even then, 6 weeks ago, she'd known something was wrong, had felt Rick pulling away, had seen the distance in his eyes, had noticed the late nights and mysterious texts. She'd known, on some level, even before he confessed, and she'd made a choice to keep Lily's secret, to protect her, to ensure Rick's decision was clean, uninfluenced by obligation or guilt. Now, 3 days after he left, Maggie stood in Beth's living room. They'd agreed to meet, to talk, to figure out the plan moving forward. I told Claire and Owen their father left, Maggie said. They're devastated. When will you tell them about Lily? Not yet. Not until after the 20-week scan. I need to know she's healthy, that this is viable. I can't put them through losing a sister if something goes wrong. Beth nodded. That makes sense, but Maggie, you can't hide a pregnancy forever. Eventually people will notice. I know, I just need time to figure out how to do this, how to tell them, how to explain that their father doesn't know and won't know. You really think you can keep this from him forever? I don't know about forever, but for now, yes. He made his choice. He chose Vanessa. He chose freedom. I'm giving him that. Giving him completely, cleanly. And what about Lily? What about her right to know her father? Maggie's hand moved to her belly, protective, fierce. She has a right to a father who wants her. Rick didn't want this marriage. He won't want this baby. And I won't let him stay out of obligation and make us both miserable. You're making a huge decision for her. I'm protecting her. There's a difference. Beth didn't argue, just poured more tea. Let Maggie sit with the weight of her choice. I called a lawyer, Maggie said, Catherine Shaw. She specializes in divorce, especially when there's adultery involved. Adultery? God, that sounds so old-fashioned. Virginia still recognizes it. I can file on those grounds. Makes the divorce cleaner, faster. And the pregnancy won't be mentioned. I'm listing myself as single mother by choice, removing Rick from all medical documents. When Lily is born, he won't be on the birth certificate. Can you do that? I can. I will. Beth studied her friend. You've thought about this? A lot. I've thought about nothing else, every scenario, every possibility, and this is the only way I can protect Lily. The only way I can ensure she's wanted, chosen, loved for herself and not because she trapped her father. You're scared. I'm terrified. I'm 47 years old, having a baby alone, high-risk pregnancy, no partner. No support system beyond you and eventually my kids. I'm terrified every single day. But, but I'm also certain, more certain than I've been about anything in years. Lily is mine, my daughter, my choice, my future, and I will do whatever it takes to give her the life she deserves. Beth reached across the table, held Maggie's hand. Then I'm with you. Whatever you need, whenever you need it, you're not alone in this. Maggie's eyes filled. Thank you. Although, Beth added, I think you're underestimating how much Rick is going to spiral when he finds out. Eventually. Because he will find out. Maybe, but by then it won't matter. By then Lily will be here. Real, a person. And he'll have to deal with the fact that he missed everything. The pregnancy, the birth, the first months. He'll have to live with knowing he lost her before he ever knew she existed. That's harsh. He was harsh first. I'm just protecting my daughter from his harshness. They sat in silence, the morning sun rising, a new day beginning, a new life forming, and Rick, miles away in his minimalist apartment, had no idea that the biggest loss of his life was growing inside the woman he'd left behind. Week 3, 21 days since Rick walked out. Maggie stood in Dr. Blackwell's office for her 19-week anatomy scan. Beth beside her, moral support, witness, friend. Ready? The ultrasound technician asked. Ready, Maggie said. Cold gel, the wand moving across her belly, searching, and then silence. The technician's face changed, concerned, focused. Maggie's heart stopped. What? What's wrong? I need to get a better angle. Tell me what's wrong. I'm not seeing. Hold on. Let me get the doctor. The technician left. Fast. Too fast. Maggie's hand found Beth's. Squeezed, terror clawing up her throat. It's okay, Beth whispered. It's probably nothing. But it didn't feel like nothing. It felt like everything. Like the other shoe dropping. Like punishment for keeping secrets. Dr. Blackwell entered, smiled. Calm. Maggie, let's take a look. Something's wrong with the baby. Let's not assume anything. The technician is new. Sometimes they get nervous. Let me see what we're working with here. Dr. Blackwell took over. The wand moving, measuring, checking. 5 minutes. The longest 5 minutes of Maggie's life. Then Dr. Blackwell smiled, really smiled. Everything looks perfect. What? Your daughter is healthy, normal. The technician got nervous because she couldn't get a clear measurement of the heart chambers. But I can see them fine. 4 chambers, perfect rhythm, strong heartbeat. Maggie sobbed, relief flooding through her. She's okay? She's more than okay. She's perfect. Look. The screen showed Lily, bigger now, more defined, tiny fingers, tiny toes, a face that looked almost human. That's her, Maggie whispered. That's my daughter. That's your daughter, Dr. Blackwell confirmed, growing right on a schedule, healthy, strong. Beth squeezed Maggie's hand, both of them crying, both of them laughing. Can I have copies, Maggie asked, of the photos? Of course, as many as you want. Dr. Blackwell printed 6 photos, different angles, different views, Lily from every direction. Maggie clutched them, precious, irreplaceable, evidence that this was real, that her daughter existed, that she was doing this. In the parking lot, Beth hugged her. She's beautiful. She is. She really is. When will you tell Claire and Owen? Soon. I was waiting for this, for confirmation that she's healthy, that this is really happening. Now that I know, I'll tell them next week. And Rick? Never. He doesn't get to know. He doesn't deserve to know. Beth didn't argue, just drove Maggie home, helped her make tea, sat with her while she stared at the ultrasound photos. I'm naming her Lily, Maggie said, after my grandmother, Lily Rose Holloway. Just Holloway, not her father's name with mine, just mine. She's mine. That same afternoon, Rick sat in Tom's office, the meeting he'd been dreading, the conversation he knew was coming. We need to talk about the partnership, Tom said. About restructuring. What kind of restructuring? I'm buying you out. You'll stay on as an employee, senior architect, good salary, benefits, but your equity stake is gone. You can't do that. I can. Check the partnership agreement. Clause 14. Actions detrimental to business reputation. You triggered it. Rick pulled out his phone, scrolled through his saved documents, found the partnership agreement, read Clause 14. Tom was right. We've lost 6 clients, Tom continued, all women, all friends with Maggie or sympathetic to her. They don't want to work with you. They don't trust you. And that affects me, my family, my business. This is about my personal life. It shouldn't affect business. But it does, because you slept with a junior colleague, because you cheated on your wife, because people see you as untrustworthy now. And architecture is built on trust. Rick had no argument, no defense. Tom was right about all of it. How much? Rick asked. For the buyout? 40% of current valuation. I'm being generous. Given the circumstances, I could argue for less. 40%. Rick had built this business, had worked alongside Tom for 20 years. And now he was being bought out at a fraction of what his share was worth. I need to think about it. You have 48 hours. After that, I start liquidation proceedings. We dissolve the partnership entirely. And trust me, that's worse for both of us. Rick left the office in a daze, drove to his apartment. The minimalist space that had felt like freedom 3 weeks ago now he felt like a prison. Vanessa was there, always there. She'd effectively moved in, her things everywhere, her presence constant. How was the meeting? Vanessa asked. Tom's buying me out. What? He can't do that. He can. Partnership agreement. My actions affected the business. He's within his rights. That's bullshit. Your personal life is your personal life. Apparently not when you sleep with a junior colleague and abandon your wife. Vanessa flinched. Don't say it like that. Why not? That's what people are saying. That's what everyone thinks. Who cares what they think? We're happy. Aren't we happy? Were they happy? Rick looked at Vanessa. Beautiful, eager, wanting reassurance that this was worth it, that leaving his marriage had been the right choice. But he couldn't give her that reassurance because he didn't know anymore. When are we making this official? Vanessa asked. When are we telling people, posting photos, being a real couple? Van, I'm in the middle of a divorce. I just lost my business partnership. Maybe we should wait. Wait for what? For your wife to forgive you? For people to forget? That's not going to happen, Rick. The damage is done. We might as well own it. Own it, like his destroyed marriage was something to be proud of. Like ruining his family was an achievement. I need space, Rick said. Space, we live together. I know, I need to think, to figure things out. Figure what out? You left her for me. You chose me. What's there to figure out? Everything. My kids won't talk to me. My business is falling apart. My wife won't even return my calls. Good. Let her stew. Let her realize what she lost. What she lost? Vanessa, I left her. She didn't lose me. I lost her. The words hung in the air. True, undeniable. Rick had lost Maggie, not the other way around. So you regret it. Vanessa's voice went cold. You regret choosing me. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. It's written all over your face. You miss her. You miss your old life. You wish you could go back. Did he wish that? Rick didn't know. He'd been so unhappy in his marriage, so disconnected, so desperate for something different. But this emptiness, this isolation, this wasn't what he'd wanted either. I need to call Maggie, Rick said. Try to talk to her. Figure out the divorce logistics. Fine, call her. Grovel. See if it makes a difference. Rick dialed. The phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Voicemail. Maggie, it's me. We need to talk. About the house, the finances, everything. Call me back, please. She didn't call back. Not that day, not the next, not ever. Rick left 7 messages over 3 days, all ignored. Finally, a text arrived, not from Maggie, from a number he didn't recognize. This is Catherine Shaw, Margaret Holloway's attorney. All future communications should go through me. Do not contact my client directly. Divorce papers will be served within the week. Divorce papers. It was really happening. Really over. Rick sat in his minimalist apartment, alone. Vanessa had gone out with friends, the silence crushing. He opened Instagram, scrolled to Maggie's profile. She rarely posted, but there was something new. A photo from 3 days ago. Maggie at a gallery, paintings on the walls, Claire and Owen on either side of her, all three smiling. The caption, "New beginnings with my favorites." New beginnings. She'd already moved on. Found happiness without him. Built a life that didn't include him. How had she done it so fast? Rick zoomed in on the photo, studied Maggie's face. She looked different, lighter, like a weight had been lifted. The weight of him. He'd been the thing holding her back, the thing making her unhappy. And now that he was gone, she was thriving. Vanessa came home, smelling like wine and perfume, happy, careless. "Hey, baby, miss me?" Rick looked at her, young, beautiful, everything he thought he wanted, but all he could see was Maggie's smile in that photo, the genuine joy there, the peace. "Rick, you okay?" "Fine, I'm fine." But he wasn't fine. He was realizing too late that he'd traded something real for something shiny, something deep for something surface, something lasting for something fleeting. And there was no going back. 22 weeks pregnant, 5.5 months, halfway plus. Maggie stood in the spare bedroom, paint cans at her feet, soft yellow covering the walls, gender neutral but warm, welcoming. 2 in the morning, she couldn't sleep, nesting instinct in overdrive. Or maybe just needing to do something, to build something, to prepare. The crib sat unassembled in boxes, used, purchased from a garage sale. Affordable, but sturdy, safe. The changing table next in line. Then the rocking chair, the same rocking chair she'd used with Claire and Owen. It creaked, the upholstery faded, but it was hers, theirs, now Lily's. Maggie sat in the chair, hand on belly, Lily kicking, strong now, consistent, a personality emerging. "Your brother and sister are going to meet you soon," Maggie whispered. "I'm telling them this week about you, about us, about how we're doing this alone." Lily kicked in response, or maybe it was Gatchin. Maggie liked to think it was response, communication. A daughter already strong enough to make herself known. The Google searches from earlier still haunted her. Single mother at 47. High-risk pregnancy complications. Raising baby alone. Horror stories, statistics, warnings. Maggie had closed the laptop, refused to let fear win. Lily was here, growing, real. And fear wouldn't change that. But God, she was terrified. What if something went wrong during delivery? What if she died? What if Lily had complications? What if being 47 was too old? What if her body couldn't do this? What if? Lily kicked again, harder, right under Maggie's ribs. Okay, I hear you. You're real, you're here, we're doing this. Maggie's phone buzzed. 3 a.m. Who called at 3 a.m.? Claire's name on the screen. "Mom, you okay?" "I'm fine, sweetheart. What's wrong?" I had a bad feeling. Needed to make sure you were okay." 23 years old, medical resident, working impossible hours, and still worried about her mother. "I'm okay, I promise, just couldn't sleep." "Me neither. I keep thinking about Dad, about what he did, about how you must be feeling." How was she feeling? Abandoned, betrayed, pregnant and alone and terrified, but also strangely liberated, free, becoming someone new. "I'm managing," Maggie said, "day by day." "That's all you can do, I guess. Have you talked to him?" "No, all communication goes through my lawyer now." "Good, he doesn't deserve to talk to you. Not after what he did." Maggie's throat tightened. Claire's loyalty. Owen's too. They'd chosen her side without hesitation. "Claire, there's something I need to tell you. You and Owen. Can you both come home this weekend?" "What is it? Are you sick? Did something happen?" "Nothing bad, I promise. I just need to tell you something in person. Both of you." "Okay, yeah. I'll call Owen. We'll be there Saturday." They hung up. Maggie sat in the rocking chair, creaking back and forth. Lily, quiet now. Sleeping maybe, or just listening to her mother's heartbeat. This weekend, she'd tell them this weekend. About Lily, about the pregnancy, about doing this alone. They'd have questions, lots of questions. And Maggie would have to explain why she'd kept this secret, why she wasn't telling Rick, why she was choosing to be a single mother. But they'd understand. They had to understand. Because the alternative, telling Rick, watching him come back out of obligation, raising Lily in a house filled with resentment, was unacceptable. Meanwhile, Rick sat at a bar with Tom, whiskey between them, silence heavy. "You look terrible," Tom said. "Thanks, you're a great friend." "I am a great friend, that's why I'm buying you whiskey and listening to you spiral." Spiraling, that's what this was. Rick's careful life unraveling, thread by thread, moment by moment. "Vanessa wants to make it official," Rick said. "Post photos, tell everyone, be a real couple. And you don't want that." "I don't know what I want anymore." Tom sipped his drink. "Can I be honest? Have you ever not been honest?" "Fair point. Here's the truth. You made a mess, a huge mess. You cheated on your wife. You abandoned your family. You destroyed your reputation. And now you're realizing that the grass isn't greener. It's just different grass." "I was unhappy." "Were you, or were you bored? There's a difference." Was there a difference? Rick had felt something in his marriage. Disconnection, distance. But had that been unhappiness? Or just the natural evolution of a long relationship? "Maggie and I hadn't been close for years," Rick said. "We barely talked, barely touched. We were roommates, not partners." "Did you try to fix it?" "What? Did you try? Marriage counseling, date nights, actual conversation about what was wrong? Or did you just decide it was broken and move on to someone easier?" Rick had no answer, because Tom was right. He hadn't tried, hadn't fought for his marriage, had just given up. Found someone who made him feel young and wanted and important. "Vanessa makes me feel alive," Rick said. "Vanessa makes you feel like you're 25 again. That's not the same thing." "What's wrong with wanting to feel young?" "Nothing until you destroy your life for that feeling, until you trade your family for it, until you realize that feeling isn't sustainable." "You think I made a mistake?" "I think you made a choice, and now you're living with the consequences. Whether it's a mistake or not, that's for you to decide." So they drank in silence, the bar filling with people, laughter, life, everyone else seemingly able to navigate relationships without destroying everything. "I tried calling Maggie," Rick said. 7 times. She won't answer. Sent her lawyer after me. Divorce papers are coming." "Good for her." "Good for her, Tom. She's my wife." "She was your wife. You ended that when you slept with Vanessa. She's just making it official." "I thought she'd fight for us, try to fix it, beg me to come back." Tom laughed, bitter. "You wanted her to beg? Jesus, Rick. You really don't get it, do you?" "Get what?" "That you were the lucky one. That Maggie was the prize. That she spent 25 years making your life easier and you repaid her by cheating. She doesn't need to beg. She's better off without you." The words landed like punches. Tom's assessment brutal. Honest. True. "The kids won't talk to me," Rick said. "Claire blocked my number. 0-2. Can you blame them? I'm their father. You're the man who hurt their mother. In their eyes, you stopped being their father when you walked out that door." Rick's phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. "Where are you? Coming home soon?" Home. The apartment wasn't home. It was a space, a placeholder, somewhere to exist, but not to live. "I should go," Rick said. "Yeah, you should. But Rick, one more thing." "What?" "Maggie's happy. I saw her last week at the grocery store. She looked any good. Healthy. At peace. Whatever she's doing, however she's coping, it's working. Maybe leave her alone. Let her have that peace. Happy." Maggie was happy. Without him. Despite him. Because of his absence. Rick paid the tab. Drove home in silence. Vanessa waiting in the apartment. Beautiful. Eager. Everything he'd thought he wanted. But as he looked at her, all Rick could think about was Maggie at the grocery store. Healthy, peaceful, happy, moving on without him. And he was stuck, trapped between a past he'd destroyed and a future he wasn't sure he wanted. Saturday morning, Claire and Owen sitting at the kitchen table, both looking at their mother, waiting. "Thanks for coming," Maggie said. Her hands shook. She clasped them together, hidden, controlled. "Mom, you're scaring us," Owen said. "What's going on? Are you sick?" "I'm not sick, I'm—" Deep breath. "I'm pregnant." Silence. Complete. Deafening. Claire's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "What?" "I'm 22 weeks pregnant, 5.5 months. A girl. Her name is Lily Rose." Owen leaned back, processing. "But Dad left 6 weeks ago. That means I was already pregnant, 4 months, when he left." "Does he know?" Claire's voice sharp. Prosecutor mode. "No." "Are you going to tell him?" "No." "Mom, let me explain. Please, just let me explain everything." They waited. Two pairs of eyes, so much like Rick's, but loyal to her, angry for her, protective. "I found out 6 weeks before your father left," Maggie began. "The pregnancy was a surprise. We'd stopped trying years ago, but there it was. 2 pink lines, a miracle." "You didn't tell him," Owen said. Not a question, a statement. "I was going to. I had it all planned. Our anniversary dinner, a special announcement. But 2 weeks before that, he confessed. About Vanessa. About leaving. About everything." "So you kept it secret," Claire said. "I made a choice. If I'd told him that night, he would have stayed. Out of obligation. Out of guilt. Because that's what you're supposed to do when your wife is pregnant. And every day, for the rest of our lives, he would have resented us. Me for trapping him. Lily for existing. I couldn't do that to her." "She's his daughter," Owen said. "He has a right to know." "Does he? He had 8 months to notice I was pregnant. 8 months to ask why I was tired, why I wasn't drinking, why I was gaining weight. He never looked at me long enough to see. He was too busy planning his exit with Vanessa." Claire stood, paced, medical mind working through logistics. "You're 47, high-risk pregnancy. Who's been going to appointments with you?" "Beth, sometimes alone." "Alone?" Claire's voice rose. "Mom, you can't do this alone." "I'm not alone. I have you, both of you and Beth and myself. I'm stronger than you think." "We're not questioning your strength," Owen said quietly. "We're questioning your judgment. This is Dad's baby too. He should know." Maggie's hands moved to her belly, protective. "This is my daughter, my body, my choice. Your father chose to leave. I'm choosing to protect Lily from the fallout of that choice." "What happens when she's born?" Claire asked. "When people see her. When Dad finds out?" "Then he finds out. But by then it won't matter. By then she'll be here. Real, a person. And he'll have to live with the fact that he missed everything. The pregnancy, the birth, the first months. He'll have to live with knowing he lost her before he ever knew she existed." "That's harsh, Mom," Owen said. "He was harsh first. I'm just protecting my daughter." They sat with that, processing, understanding, still struggling. "When's she due?" Claire asked finally. "Early February, February 7th. "I'll be there," Claire said, "for the birth. I'll take time off. Schedule my rotations around it." "Me too," Owen added. "I'll come home. Help however I can." Maggie's eyes filled. "You don't have to." "Yes, we do. You're our mom. Lily is our sister. We're family. That's what family does." Family. Despite everything. Despite Rick. Despite the divorce. Despite the secrets. They were still family. "There's more," Maggie said. "I've removed your father from all medical documents. Changed my emergency contacts to you, Claire. Updated my will. When Lily is born, he won't be on the birth certificate." "Can you do that legally? I mean, Owen asked him. "I can, single mother by choice. It's recognized. Your father will have no legal claim unless he contests it, and he can't contest something he doesn't know exists." "This is a lot," Claire said. She sat, head in hands. I need time to process this. I know. Take all the time you need. Does anyone else know? Beth, Dr. Blackwell, my lawyer, that's it. Your lawyer knows. She needed to know for the divorce proceedings to make sure everything was handled correctly. Owen stood, walked to the window, looked out at the backyard where he'd played as a child, where Claire had learned to ride a bike, where their family had existed before Rick destroyed it. I'm angry at him, Owen said. So angry, but Mom, this feels wrong, keeping his daughter from him. I know it feels wrong, but imagine the alternative. Imagine Lily growing up knowing she's the reason Daddy stayed, knowing he didn't want to be there, knowing every time he looks at her, he sees the trap all but he's a trap that caught him. I won't do that to her. What if he would have been happy, Claire asked, about the pregnancy, about Lily? What if you're wrong? Then I'm wrong, but I saw his face that night, the relief when he told me he was leaving. The freedom. He wanted out. A baby wouldn't have changed that. It would have just made him stay in a prison he desperately wanted to escape. They couldn't argue with that, because they'd seen Rick too, seen the distance, the disconnect, the way he checked out of the family long before he physically left. When can we meet her? Owen asked. Lily, when can we feel her kick? Maggie smiled. Now, if you want. She's active today. They both came to her, knelt beside her chair, hands on her belly, waiting. Lily kicked, strong, definite, a tiny foot pressing against Maggie's ribs. Oh my God, Claire whispered. That's her. That's our sister. Owen's eyes filled. Hey, Lily, I'm your big brother. We can't wait to meet you. And in that moment, despite everything, Maggie knew she'd made the right choice. Not because it was easy, because it protected Lily, because it ensured her daughter would be wanted, chosen, loved without reservation, even if it meant keeping her from a father who'd already proven he knew how to walk away. Week 5, 23 weeks pregnant, viability approaching. The medical milestone where survival became possible outside the womb. Maggie lay awake at 2:37 a.m., staring at the ceiling, counting breaths, fighting panic. What if something went wrong during delivery? What if her body couldn't do this? What if Lily had complications? What if she was a terrible mother? What if she and left her baby motherless? The thoughts spiraled, endless, consuming. Lily kicked. Maggie's hand moved automatically to the spot, rubbing circles, soothing. I'm scared, Maggie whispered into the darkness. I'm so scared. Another kick. Stronger, insistent. I know, you're real, you're here, but what if I can't do this? What if I'm not enough? Her phone glowed on the nightstand, 3 a.m., the hour when everything felt impossible, when doubts became certainties, when fear won. Maggie opened her laptop, typed with shaking fingers. Death during childbirth over 45. Complications, high-risk pregnancy. Single mother failure rates. Pages of statistics, horror stories, warnings. She read them all, absorbed the fear, let it consume her. Then Lily kicked again, hard enough to hurt. Maggie closed the laptop. Okay, I hear you. She went to the nursery, the room she'd been building piece by piece, walls painted, crib assembled, changing table ready, the rocking chair waiting. Maggie sat in the chair, rocked, hand on belly, Lily moving beneath her palm. Your grandmother died when I was young, Maggie said. Lily Rose, the woman you're named after. She was strong, brave. She raised 3 kids alone after my grandfather died. Everyone said she couldn't do it. Everyone doubted her. But she proved them wrong. Lily seemed to settle, listening. I'm naming you after her because I need her strength, her courage, her certainty that she could survive anything. I need to believe I have that too. Maggie's eyes moved to the pile of baby clothes. Tiny, soft, washed and folded and waiting. She'd done this at 2 a.m. 3 nights ago, nesting, preparing, trying to feel ready. But she didn't feel ready. She felt terrified. What if I'm too old for this? Maggie whispered. What if 47 is too old? What if my body fails? What if She couldn't finish the thought, couldn't say the words out loud. What if Lily didn't survive? What if all of the secrecy, the planning, the preparation was for nothing? Maggie opened her phone, scrolled to photos, the ultrasound images from the 19-week scan. Lily's profile, perfect nose, tiny fingers, fully formed human, real, present, depending on her. A text came through, Beth checking in. Can't sleep either. You okay? Maggie typed back. Scared. What if I can't do this? You can, you are, one day at a time. What if something goes wrong? Then we handle it, together. You're not alone, Mags. But she was alone, in the ways that mattered, in the 3 a.m. panic, in the bone-deep terror, in the knowledge that she was responsible for another life and might not be strong enough. Lily kicked again, rhythmic now. Like she was trying to communicate, trying to reassure. You're stuck with me, Maggie said. For better or worse, I'm your mom, and I'm going to do my best, even when my best feels inadequate, even when I'm terrified, even when I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to show up. I'm going to try. She sat in the rocking chair until dawn, hand on belly, talking to her daughter, making promises she hoped she could keep. At 6 a.m., Maggie stood, made coffee, decaf, the sacrifice of pregnancy. No caffeine, no alcohol, no sushi, no soft cheese. All the tiny ways her body wasn't her own anymore, but also all the ways her body was creating something miraculous. She pulled out a notebook, started writing. Not the letter she'd drafted before. The one to Rick, the one explaining everything, the one she had never sent. This letter was different. Dear Lillian, she wrote, today I'm 23 weeks pregnant with you. You're the size of a grapefruit or a large mango. The pregnancy apps can't seem to agree on fruit comparisons. Maggie paused, smiled despite herself. I'm terrified. I should probably lie and say I'm confident and ready and prepared. But you deserve honesty. I'm 47 years old, having you alone. High risk. Everyone has opinions about this, most of them negative. She kept writing, pages, stream of consciousness, everything she felt, everything she barred, everything she hoped. Your father doesn't know about you. That probably makes me terrible. Maybe someday you'll hate me for it, but here's what I know. He would have stayed for the wrong reasons. And you deserve someone who wants to be there, not someone who has to be there. Lily kicked, agreement, protest, impossible to know. I'm going to tell you about him someday. When you ask, when you're ready, I'll tell you he's not a bad man, just a weak one, that he made a choice and I made a different choice to protect you, to give you a life filled with people who chose you, not people who were trapped by you. By 7 a.m., Maggie had filled 10 pages, an outpouring of fear and hope and determination. She closed the notebook, held it to her chest. One day Lily would read this, would know what her mother felt during these dark nights, would understand the choice Maggie made, and maybe she'd forgive her. Or maybe she'd be angry, feel betrayed, demand to know her father. But that was a future problem. Right now, Maggie had to survive the pregnancy, had to get through each day, each night, each wave of panic. She made breakfast, scrambled eggs, whole wheat toast, orange juice, the prenatal routine. Her phone buzzed, Claire calling. Morning, Mom, you okay? I'm okay, couldn't sleep. But I'm okay. Me neither. I've been reading about high-risk pregnancies, about delivery options, about, Claire, honey, you don't have to research everything. Dr. Blackwell has it handled. I know, I want to help. I want to make sure you're safe, that Lily's safe. Maggie's throat tightened. I love you, you know that? I love you too, Mom. We're going to get through this. All of us, together. After they hung up, Maggie stood in the kitchen, hand on belly. Lily quiet now, sleeping maybe. Your sister loves you already, Maggie whispered. Your brother too. You have a family that chose you, that wanted you, that will fight for you. And that had to be enough, because it was all Maggie had to give. Week 6, 23 weeks and 4 days. Maggie stood in the gallery, her paintings on the walls, 20 pieces, all created in the last 6 weeks, all exploring themes of breaking and becoming. This is extraordinary, Nina said. Nina Rossi, her colleague from the art department, her friend. When did you have time for all this? Insomnia, Maggie said. I've had a lot of insomnia. The paintings told a story. Fragmentation, dissolution, then reformation. Stronger, different, beautiful in new ways. The centerpiece hung in the middle. Becoming. A triptych. 3 panels showing transformation. Breaking apart. Floating. Coalescing into something new. Gold highlights throughout. Kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold, making the breaks part of the beauty. That's what Maggie was doing, taking her broken marriage, her shattered life, and rebuilding with the breaks visible, acknowledged, made beautiful. I want to buy this one, a woman said. 60-something, kind eyes, studying becoming intently. $800, Maggie said, her first sale ever. The price felt simultaneously too high and too low. I'll take it. Really? Really? My daughter just left her husband. He cheated. She has 2 kids. I'm buying this for her new apartment to remind her she's not broken, just becoming. Maggie's eyes filled. Tell her it gets lighter, day by day. It gets lighter. The woman smiled, squeezed Maggie's hand. I will. They completed the sale, $800. Maggie's first painting sold, the start of something. She put the money toward Lily's college fund. A beginning, a foundation. The gallery filled with people, friends, colleagues, strangers, all looking at her work, seeing her pain transformed into art. And then Claire and Owen arrived. Mom, Claire hugged her. This is incredible. You did all this? All this, 6 weeks, lots of late nights. Owen moved through the gallery, studying each piece, his art history minor showing. These are good, really good, professional quality. You sound surprised. Not surprised, just impressed. You've been hiding this talent. Had she been hiding it, or had she just not had time? Between teaching and marriage and motherhood, when had there been time for her own art? Now, there was time now. In the wreckage of her marriage, she'd found space for herself. Beth arrived with champagne, sparkling grape juice for Maggie. They toasted. To new beginnings, Beth said. To becoming, Maggie added. They took photos, Maggie between Claire and Owen, all 3 smiling. A family, smaller, different, but whole. Beth posted it to Instagram. Tag Maggie. New beginnings with my favorites. Maggie's first social media post in 6 weeks. Evidence that she existed, that she was thriving, that life continued without Rick. Miles away, Rick scrolled through Instagram, saw the post, stopped breathing. There they were. Maggie, Claire, Owen, at a gallery opening, paintings on the walls behind them. Maggie's paintings, when had she started painting again? She used to paint years ago, before marriage and kids and life got complicated. She'd mentioned wanting to get back to it. Rick had always said someday. Someday had arrived. Without him. Maggie looked good. No, better than good. She looked vibrant, alive, happy. Her hair was different, shorter, lighter, styled in a way Rick had never seen. Her dress was bright, bold, the kind of thing she used to wear before he'd commented that maybe something more conservative was better. She looked like herself, like a version of herself Rick had forgotten existed. She looks good, Vanessa said, looking over his shoulder, seeing the photo. Yeah, she does. Are you jealous? What? That she's happy, moving on, living her life without you. Are you jealous? Was he jealous? Rick didn't know. He felt something, regret, loss, the recognition that Maggie had become someone new, someone he'd never know. I'm happy for her, Rick said. The lie tasted bitter. No, you're not. You're miserable. You've been miserable for weeks, ever since you left. I'm adjusting. Adjusting? Rick, you check her social media constantly. You call her number even though she never answers. You talk about her more than you talk to me. You're not adjusting, you're obsessing. That's not fair, isn't it? Tell me honestly, if you could go back, if you could undo this, would you? Would he? Rick looked at the photo again. Maggie smiling. Free. Better without him. I can't undo it, so it doesn't matter. It matters to me. It matters if I'm competing with a ghost, with a woman you can't have anymore, with a life you destroyed and now romanticize. You're not competing with anyone. Then prove it. Stop checking her social media. Stop calling her. Stop talking about her. Choose me. Really choose me, or let me go. Vanessa grabbed her purse, walked to the door. Where are you going? Out. To think, to figure out if this is worth it, if you're worth it. She left, the door closing with finality. Rick sat alone in the minimalist apartment, the photo of Maggie still on his phone. He zoomed in, studied her face, tried to see if there was sadness beneath the smile, evidence that she missed him, regretted the divorce, wanted him back. Nothing, just genuine happiness. She'd moved on, completely. While Rick was stuck, trapped between a past he'd destroyed and a future he wasn't sure he wanted, his phone rang. Tom. Hey, Rick answered. Have you seen Maggie's Instagram? Yeah, just saw it. She looks good. Everyone keeps saying that. Because it's true. She's thriving, happy, successful, everything you thought she'd never be without you. Thanks, Tom. You're really building my confidence here. I'm being honest. You thought leaving her would destroy her, that she'd fall apart. Beg you to come back. Instead, she's living her best life, and you're the one falling apart. Tom was right about all of it. I made a mistake, Rick said quietly. Probably, but you can't undo it. You can only move forward. The question is, forward with Vanessa or forward alone? I don't know. Then figure it out, because Vanessa deserves someone who actually wants her, not someone pining for his ex-wife. They hung up. Rick poured whiskey, sat on the couch, stared at the blank walls. This apartment had been freedom, possibility, a fresh start. Now it just felt empty. Vanessa came back at midnight, sober, serious. We need to talk, she said. Okay. I can't do this anymore. Compete with her, with your guilt, with your regret. I thought I was enough. I thought choosing me would make you happy. But it hasn't. You're miserable. Van, don't make excuses. Don't tell me it's just adjustment. I see the way you look at her photos, the way you talk about her, the way you disappear into memories of your old life. You don't love me. You maybe never did. I was just an escape. Rick couldn't argue, because she was right. I'm sorry, he said. Me too. I'm sorry I believed you when you said you were ready, when you said you wanted this. I'm sorry I helped you destroy your marriage. I'm sorry I thought I was special enough to be worth it. You are special, but not special enough. Not enough to make you forget her. Not enough to make this worth it. Vanessa packed a bag, her things, the items she'd accumulated over the weeks. I'm staying at my place tonight. We can figure out the logistics later. But Rick, don't call me, don't text, don't try to fix this. It's over. She left. Rick sat in the silence, completely alone. No Maggie, no Vanessa, no family, no future. Just the consequences of his choices, surrounding him, suffocating him, drowning him. And somewhere across town, Maggie slept peacefully, hand on her belly, Lily kicking gently, a family of two, soon to be three with Claire and Owen's support, happy, moving forward, thriving without him. Friday night, week 6, Maggie at dinner with Beth, celebrating the art sales, the progress, the strength she'd found. I sold 3 paintings, Maggie said, $2,400. Lily's college fund is starting. Beth raised her glass, sparkling cider for Maggie, wine for herself. To Lily's education, may she be brilliant like her mother. And stubborn, Maggie added, definitely stubborn. They laughed, ate, talked about the future, baby names, nursery colors, the logistics of single motherhood. When are you telling Rick? Beth asked. I'm not. Maggie, we've been through this. He doesn't get to know. He doesn't deserve to know. What about when Lily asks? When she wants to meet her father? Then we'll deal with it. When she's old enough to understand. When she can make her own choices. But right now she's mine. Just mine. Beth didn't push. Just squeezed Maggie's hand. You're doing great. You know that? I don't feel like I'm doing great. I feel like I'm barely surviving. That's what great looks like sometimes. Just surviving. Just showing up. Just not giving up. They finished dinner. Hugged goodbye. Maggie drove home alone. Route 29. Dark. Rain starting. Maggie drove carefully. Hands at 10 and 2. Speed limit exactly. No risks, not with Lily depending on her. The rain intensified, visibility dropping. Maggie slowed, turned on her hazards. Almost home. Just 5 more miles. Lily kicked. Active tonight. Maggie's hand moved to her belly. I know, baby girl. Almost home. Almost. Headlights. Bright. Wrong direction. Coming toward her. Maggie swerved. Too late. Metal crunching. Glass shattering. The world spinning. Pain. Darkness. Then nothing. Rick's apartment. 12:47 a.m. Vanessa gone. Tom not answering calls. Rick Biocco alone with whiskey and regret. His phone rang. Unknown number. Rick almost didn't answer. Almost let it go to voicemail. But something made him pick up. Hello? Is this Richard Holloway? Yes. This is Dr. Sarah Kempton at Fairfax Hospital. Your wife, Margaret Holloway, was in a serious car accident tonight. You're listed as her emergency contact. The world stopped. Breath stopped. Time stopped. What? Sir, you need to come now. She's in critical condition. I'm coming. I'm coming right now. Rick grabbed his keys, ran to his car, hands shaking so badly he could barely hold the steering wheel. Route 29? Where was the accident? How bad was it? Was she conscious? Was she... Don't think it. Don't think the worst. Police lights. Ambulance. The mangled remains of a car. Maggie's car. Oh God, no. Maggie! Rick parked, ran toward the scene. A police officer stopped him. Sir, you can't... That's my wife. That's my wife's car. Where is she? She's been transported to Fairfax Hospital. Are you family? I'm her husband. The officer's face changed. Recognition, judgment. He knew. Somehow he knew about the separation, the affair. Everything. The hospital is 10 minutes north. Drive safely. Rick got back in his car. Drove. Reckless. Desperate. Maggie was in the hospital. Critical condition. He needed to get there. Needed to see her. Needed to, what? Fix it? Apologize? Undo everything? Too late. Always too late. Fairfax Hospital. Emergency entrance. Rick ran inside. Margaret Holloway, my wife. She was in a car accident. Where is she? The nurse checked her computer. 4th floor, trauma unit, family waiting room. Rick took the stairs. 4 flights, running, lungs burning. The waiting room. Claire and Owen already there, disheveled, terrified, holding each other. Where is she? Rick demanded. How is she? What happened? Claire looked up. Her face transformed. Grief to rage in an instant. Now you care? Claire, please. No, you don't get to show up now. You don't get to play concerned husband. You left her. Remember? You abandoned her for your girlfriend. She's still my wife. I still love her. I need to see her. She doesn't want to see you. How do you know? Is she conscious? Is she okay? Owen stood, put himself between Rick and Claire, protective. She coded in the ambulance. Twice. They had to resuscitate her. She's in surgery now. We don't know if she'll... He couldn't finish. Couldn't say the words. If she'll survive. If she'll live. If they'd lost her. Rick's legs gave out. He sat, hard, in a plastic chair, head in hands. What happened? Rick asked. How did this happen? Drunk driver, Claire said, her voice hollow, empty. Crossed the center line, hit her head on. The other driver died at the scene. Mom's car, it's destroyed, completely destroyed. But she's alive. For now. They waited, hours, no updates, just the 3 of them in a too bright waiting room. Not speaking, not touching, just existing in the terrible space between life and death. At 3:17 a.m., Beth arrived. She looked at Rick, surprised then understanding. They called you. I'm still her emergency contact, apparently. She was going to change that, just hadn't gotten around to it yet. Hadn't gotten around to it because Maggie thought she had time. Thought this was just another day, another routine Friday. Drive home, sleep, wake up, continue living. She'd almost been right. At 5:47 a.m., Dr. Kempton emerged. Scrubs bloody, exhausted. Everyone stood. Margaret is stable. The collective breath, relief flooding the room. But there were complications, Dr. Kempton continued. Severe internal injuries, fractured ribs, traumatic brain injury. We've stopped the bleeding, but she's still critical. The next 48 hours will tell us more. Can we see her? Claire asked. Soon, she's being moved to ICU, family only, 2 at a time. Dr. Kempton started to turn away, then stopped, looked directly at Rick. Holloway, there's something else, something you need to know. What? Your wife is 23 weeks pregnant. Time stopped. The room tilted. Rick's ears rang. What? 23 weeks, 5.5 months. The pregnancy is high risk due to the accident. Placental abruption. The baby's heart rate drops significantly. We're monitoring closely. It's too early to know if the baby will survive. Baby. Pregnancy. 23 weeks. Rick couldn't process. Couldn't understand. Couldn't breathe. She's pregnant. Rick's voice barely whispered. You didn't know. Not a question. A statement. Dr. Kempton understood immediately. Claire's voice cut through. Mom's pregnant? Owen beside her. That's not. She would have told us. Then stopping, looking at each other. Understanding dawning. Owen turned to Rick. How far along did the doctor say? 23 weeks, Dr. Kempton repeated. Claire calculated. Medical student. Quick with numbers. That means she was pregnant when you left. Rick couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Couldn't think past the roaring in his ears. She was pregnant, Claire's voice breaking. You left her while she was pregnant, and she never told anyone. She was going to do this alone. Beth stepped forward. She told me. And the kids. Last weekend. She was keeping it secret until she was sure the baby was healthy. The baby? Owen's voice small, lost. We have a sister? A sister, Beth confirmed. Her name is Lily Rose. Lily, Rose, a name, a person. A daughter Rick didn't know existed. She didn't tell me, Rick said. Statement, fact, devastation. No, Beth said simply, she didn't. Why wouldn't she tell me? Claire stepped closer, her face a mask of fury. Because you would have stayed, out of obligation, out of guilt. And she didn't want that. She didn't want you to resent her, resent Lily. She was protecting our sister from you. I have a right. You gave up your rights when you chose Vanessa, when you walked out, when you abandoned your family. Dr. Kempton cleared her throat. I need to get back to my patient, but you should know, according to Margaret's medical records, you're not listed as the father. She designated herself as a single mother by choice. When? Rick's voice hollow. When did she change that? 5 weeks ago, the same day she updated her advanced directives. You're listed as estranged spouse, no medical decisions, no visitation without patient consent. 5 weeks ago, while Rick was settling into his apartment with Vanessa, while he was justifying his choices, while he was telling himself Maggie would be fine, she'd been erasing him, systematically, legally, emotionally, removing him from her life, from Lily's life, from their future. I need to see her, Rick said. Immediate family only, Dr. Kempton said. Claire and Owen can visit, 2 at a time. I'm her husband. You're her estranged spouse. By her designation, I'm following her wishes. Dr. Kempton left. Claire and Owen followed. Neither looked back at Rick. He stood alone in the waiting room, Beth watching him, silent, judging. How long have you known? Rick asked. 6 weeks, since 2 days after you left. And you didn't think I should know? I thought Maggie's wishes should be respected. She asked me not to tell you, so I didn't. She's carrying my child. She's carrying her daughter. Your involvement ended when you walked out that door. Rick sat, the weight crushing him. Maggie pregnant. 5.5 months, while he'd been with Vanessa, while he'd been complaining about his life, while he'd been justifying his choices. She'd been creating life, alone, preparing to be a mother without him, and he'd never known. Claire came back out. We can go in, Owen and I, you're not invited. Claire, save it, whatever you want to say, whatever apology you think will fix this, save it. Mom doesn't want to see you, Lily doesn't need you, and we certainly don't want you here. She left. Rick buried his face in his hands. Lily, his daughter, growing inside Maggie, fighting for survival, and he'd known nothing, noticed nothing, cared about nothing except himself. He'd lost everything, and the midnight call hadn't revealed his loss. It had only revealed the truth he'd been too blind to see. He'd already lost them long before the phone rang. The hospital room was too bright, too sterile, machines beeping, Maggie lying too still, Claire and Owen on either side, holding her hands, crying silently. Maggie's face was bruised, swollen, bandaged, an oxygen mask covering her nose and mouth, IVs everywhere, monitors tracking vitals, and beneath it all, barely visible beneath the hospital gown and blankets, a swollen belly, Lily, still there, heart rate visible on the fetal monitor, 140 beats per minute, fast, stressed, but present. Mom, Claire whispered, we're here. Owen and I, we're both here. No response. Maggie was unconscious, sedated. The machines breathing for her. Owen leaned close. Lily's okay. The doctors say she's okay. Her heart rate stabilized. She's fighting. Just like you. Fighting. Both of them fighting. Surviving. In the hallway, Rick stood at the window. Watching. Not allowed inside. Not family according to the paperwork. According to Maggie's wishes. Beth found him there. You should go home. I can't leave. Not until I know she's okay. She doesn't want you here. I don't care. She's my wife. That's my daughter. I'm not leaving. Your wife, who you abandoned. Your daughter, who you don't have legal rights to. You're not wanted here, Rick. The words landed like blows. True, brutal, undeniable. How is she? Rick asked. Maggie, how is she really? Beth hesitated, then sighed. Critical but stable. The brain injury is the biggest concern. They won't know the extent until the swelling goes down. She might have memory issues, cognitive problems, motor skill difficulties, or she might wake up completely fine. They can't tell yet. And the baby? Lily. Her name is Lily. Lily. How is Lily? Stable for now, but it's early, 23 weeks. If she's born now, survival rates are low, very low. They're trying to keep Maggie pregnant as long as possible. Every day makes a difference. Can I see them just for a minute? I won't say anything. I just need to see her. Beth studied him. Why? Because she's my wife. Because she's not your wife, not really. You ended that when you left. She's the mother of your children. The woman you hurt, the person you abandoned. But she's not your wife, not in any way that matters. Rick had no argument. Beth was right. 5 minutes, Beth said finally. That's all. Claire and Owen are taking a break. 5 minutes. Don't make me regret this. Rick entered the room, the beeping louder here, more present. Life measured in sounds and numbers. Maggie looked small in the hospital bed. Fragile. Not the strong woman who'd raised their children. Not the artist who'd just had a gallery show. Not the person who'd moved on without him. Just a woman. Hurt. Vulnerable. Surviving. Rick moved to the bed, touched her hand, gentle, afraid he might break her. Maggie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. No response, just the machines, breathing, beeping, continuing. I didn't know about Lily, about the pregnancy. I swear I didn't know. If I had, I don't know, maybe I would have stayed. Maybe it would have been different. Maybe, but maybe didn't matter. The truth was clear. Maggie had known, had chosen not to tell him, had decided his choice needed to be clean, uninfluenced by obligation, and Rick's choice had been to leave. "I lost you," Rick whispered. "Before I even knew I had. You'd already let me go. Emotionally, mentally, you'd already moved on, and I was too stupid to see it." His eyes moved to the fetal monitor. Lily's heartbeat, fast, strong, a fighter. "I have a daughter. We have a daughter. And I didn't even know, didn't notice, didn't ask why you were tired or distant or different. I just assumed. Blamed you and left." Rick's voice broke. "I thought leaving would make me happy. Free, alive. But all I feel is empty. Lost. Like I destroyed the only thing that mattered and can't figure out how to get it back." The door opened. Claire returned. Saw Rick. Her face hardened. "Time's up." "Claire, I said time's up. Get out." Rick left. Back to the hallway. Back to the waiting room. Back to the space where he existed but didn't belong. Tom arrived at 7 a.m., sat with Rick in silence. "I heard," Tom said finally, "about the accident, about the baby. She was pregnant 5.5 months, and I didn't know, didn't notice, didn't care enough to see. Would you have stayed if you'd known?" "I don't know, maybe, probably, but she didn't want me to stay out of obligation, so she never told me." "She protected you from having to make that choice, well, or she protected Lily from having a father who resented her." "Maybe both." They sat in the terrible liminal space. Between before and after. Between crisis and resolution. Between life and loss. Vanessa came at 8 a.m., tentative, unsure. "I heard about the accident. I wanted to make sure you were okay." "I'm not okay. My wife is fighting for her life. My daughter might not survive. And it's all my fault." "It's not your fault. A drunk driver hit her. That's not on you." "But if I hadn't left, if I'd been there, if I'd been driving, You can't think like that. You'll drive yourself crazy." Rick looked at Vanessa, beautiful, young, everything that didn't matter. "I can't do this," Rick said. "Us, I can't." "I know, I already knew. I just wanted to make sure you were okay before I left." "I'm not okay. I won't be okay. Maybe I don't deserve to be okay." Vanessa nodded, touched his shoulder once, then left. Another ending, another loss. But this one felt right, necessary. 48 hours later, Maggie opened her eyes. Claire was beside her, reading medical journals. Preparing, always preparing. "Mom?" Claire's voice tentative. Hoping. "Mom, can you hear me?" Maggie blinked, confused, disoriented. Tried to speak, the oxygen mask preventing it. Claire pressed the call button, moved the mask. "Don't try to talk. You're okay. You're in the hospital. You were in an accident." Maggie's hand moved, instinctive, protective, to her belly. "Baby?" The word barely audible. Claire's eyes filled. Still there, still fighting. Lily's okay. Relief visible, overwhelming. Owen rushed in, Dr. Kempton behind him. "Maggie," Dr. Kempton said, "welcome back. You had us worried." Tests, questions, neurological assessments, checking motor skills, memory, function, everything seemed intact, miraculous. Impossible, but true. "The baby?" Maggie asked, voice stronger now. "Stable, we've been monitoring closely, 23 weeks and 3 days now. Every day you stay pregnant increases her chances. We're hoping to get you to at least 28 weeks, preferably 32. I'll do whatever it all takes. I know you will." In the hallway, Rick waited. 2 days of waiting, no sleep, no food, just coffee and guilt and terror. When Claire emerged, Rick stood. "How is she?" "Awake, lucid, remembering everything." "Can I see her?" "She said you could, once, to say goodbye properly." "Goodbye?" "You heard me, one visit, to say what you need to say. Then you leave, forever." "Claire, those are her terms. Take it or leave it." "When?" 2 p.m., room 412. Don't be late, and don't stay long." At exactly 2 p.m., Rick entered room 412. Maggie awake, pale, tired, but present, alive. "Hi," Rick said. "Hi." Silence, 25 years, 6 weeks of separation. 2 days of crisis, all condensed into one word. Hi. I didn't know, Rick said, about Lily, about the pregnancy. I swear I didn't know. I know you didn't. Why didn't you tell me? Maggie's eyes met his, clear, certain. Because you would have stayed, and I didn't want you to stay. Maggie, let me finish. You would have stayed out of obligation, out of guilt, because that's what you're supposed to do when your wife is pregnant. And every single day, you would have resented us, me for trapping you, Lily for existing. I couldn't do that to her or to myself. I would have, you would have been miserable. We both know it. You were already miserable. For years, you just needed permission to leave. Vanessa gave you that. I'm giving you freedom. Real freedom. Rick's throat closed. I'm sorry. For everything, for not seeing you, for cheating, for leaving, for all of it. I know. Maggie's voice soft, not cruel, just final. But sorry doesn't change anything. You made your choice. I made mine. My choice is Lily. Just Lily. Can I be part of her life? Part of yours? Maggie's hand moved to her belly, protective. I don't know, maybe someday, when she's older, when she asks. But right now? No. Right now, she's mine, my daughter, my life, my future. Maggie, please. You need to go now, Rick. Back to your life, your apartment, your freedom. Live it, really live it. Don't waste it on regret. How can I not regret? That's not my problem anymore. Not cruel, just true. You need to leave. The kids are waiting, and I'm tired. Rick stood, walked to the door, turned back. I loved you, I did. I just forgot how. Maggie's eyes closed. I know, that's the saddest part. You didn't stop loving me. You just stopped seeing me. And by the time you looked again, I'd already become someone who didn't need you to see her anymore. Rick walked out, down the hallway, past Claire and Owen. They didn't stop him, didn't speak, just watched him leave. In the parking lot, Rick sat in his car, rain starting again. Always rain. His phone buzzed. Tom, clients, the world continuing. He turned it off. On the dashboard, the last photo of them together. Anniversary. Both smiling. Before everything broke, he'd lost everything. His wife when he stopped seeing her. His daughter before he knew she existed. His children when he proved he could abandon family. Himself when he chose easy over right. The midnight call hadn't revealed his loss. It had only shown him the truth. He'd already lost everything long before the phone ever rang. Through the rain-streaked windshield, Rick could see the hospital. 4th floor, Maggie's window. Inside, Claire and Owen surrounded their mother. Maggie's hand on her belly. Lily still there, still fighting. A family. Smaller, different, but whole. And Rick outside it, looking in, finally seeing what he'd destroyed. Not in one midnight call, but in 1,000 small moments when he stopped choosing them, when he stopped fighting for them, and when he decided they weren't enough. He'd already lost everything he loved. He just hadn't known it yet. Rick started the engine, drove away, not back to the apartment, not to anywhere specific, just away. And in the hospital room, Maggie whispered to Lily, "It's still just us, baby girl. Still just us. And we're going to be okay." Because they would be, not despite Rick's absence, because of it. Sometimes the greatest gift was letting someone go, completely, finally, forever. Maggie had given Rick his freedom, and in return, she'd found her own. May 7th, Lily Rose Holloway entered the world at 4:32 a.m., 6 pounds, 3 ounces, healthy, perfect, worth everything. Claire held her first, then Owen. Both crying, both in love instantly. "Hi, Lily," Claire whispered. "I'm your big sister. We've been waiting for you." Maggie watched from the hospital bed, exhausted, elated, complete. Her daughter, finally, real, present. Beth took photos, the family of 4, Maggie and her 3 children. No one missing, no gaps, just them. Later, alone with Lily, Maggie whispered promises. "I'll tell you about your father someday, when you ask." When you're a bratty, I'll tell you the truth, that he's not a bad man, just one who made a choice, and I made a different choice to protect you, to love you, to be enough for both of us. Lily yawned, tiny, perfect, unaware of the complexity she'd been born into. Your siblings love you. I love you. And that's enough. That has to be enough. In a minimalist apartment across town, Rick received a text from Owen. A photo. A baby. His daughter. Lily Rose Holloway, born today, 6 pounds, 3 ounces. Healthy. Rick stared at the photo, his daughter. 3 months old in the world. Brand new outside of it. She had Maggie's nose, his chin, a perfect combination of both of them. And he'd never hold her, never know her, never be part of her life, because he'd made his choice long before she was born. Rick saved the photo, the only one he might ever have, evidence that he'd lost something precious before he ever knew it existed. In the hospital, Maggie kissed Lily's forehead. Welcome to the world, baby girl. Welcome to our family. Welcome home. And outside, rain started to fall, washing away the old, making space for the new, continuing forward, always forward, never back.